So keep them coming. And in studio today, we have none other than Gor Mahia President Ambrose Rachier. He'll be speaking to us shortly on matters Gor Mahia in the state of Kenyan football. But first things first, we go to Zita on the scoreboard, who has something interesting regarding one man at Kogalo, Benson Omalla. Zita? Thank you so much, Swila. And again, changing gears, we are going to Benson Omalla Ochieng. He is only 22 years of age and he's from Kisumu. A lot of people call it Mboka. And again, his career started in Western Steamer, where he scored 7 goals. I just want one of us to talk about Western Steamer. It's a team that has been a feeder to one of the biggest teams that is in the FKF Premier League, that is Gor Mahia. Talk about FC Leopard. So Becky wa kupanda na kushuka, please. I just want you to tell us where is Western Steamer? There was a lot of derby when Western Steamer playing against Gor Mahia. That was a very big derby in the Western region. So nikitupa swali kwako Becky, nini ilifanyikia Western Steamer?
Asante sana Zita. Kama ulivyotaja, Western Steamer imekuwa ni timu ambayo kwamba imetikisa sana soka, hususan katika ukanda wa Nyanza. Ukitaja derby wakati huo Western Steamer wakikutana dhidi ya Gor Mahia, ilikuwa ni mechi ambayo kwamba haongekosa kuweza kuingia pale uwanjani. Lakini ifahamike kwamba Western Steamer ilikuwa inadhaminiwa na kampuni ya nguvu za umeme nchini Kenya, bila shaka, na iliweza kuondoa udhamini wake katika timu zote. Si Western Steamer peke yake, bali unakumbuka kulikuwa na Coast Steamer ambayo pia ilikuwa inadhaminiwa na kampuni ile. Kwa hiyo pindi tu ilipoondoa ule ufadhili wake kwa hizi timu kwa sababu ya nafikiri makali ya kiuchumi, basi utapata kuna kwamba hizo timu kwa kweli zilishindwa kuweza kumudu kujiendeleza katika ligi, na basi ndilo jibu mwafaka ambalo kwamba nafikiri linaoana na swali ambalo kwamba umeweza kuliuliza kwa timu ya Western Steamer. Lakini ni timu ambayo kwamba imetoa talanta nyingi, naamini ya kwamba bila shaka ilimchonga vizuri sana Omalla kwa kiwango ambacho kwamba ako kwa sasa hivi.
Asante sana Becky. A lot of people walikuwa wameuliza Western Steamer, Nairobi Steamer na Coast Steamer zilienda wapi? Sawa, Becky amejibu swali yenu. Again, he went after Western Steamer, he came to Gor Mahia, scored 22 goals, and then he went to FC Liverpool City in Sweden for 6-month loan, and then again he came back, went back to Gor Mahia, and then he scored 26 goals. And it was a 2022-2023 season whereby Elvis Rachier scored 27 goals, and he was just behind Elvis Rachier with 1 goal. And then now he's still playing for Gor Mahia, and he has 9 goals. He's one of the top scorer in the ongoing league. Again, he has also featured in Kenyan under-20 and under-23 side. That is now he's playing for the senior side, Harambee Stars. Again, looking at this is where all the question comes. There was a proposed loan that he was going to move to Algeria, and then from Gor Mahia, and Gor Mahia FC were to receive 3 million if this if this agreement was to pass. Again, Omalla was to receive Kenya shillings 1 million monthly wage. Again, there have been a lot of things online talking about this loan move, and then Gor Mahia made a fresh demand on transfer loan, and the deal fell through. So I want to take you back to Swila, and we have a guest who is the chairman of Gor Mahia, who is going to answer all the questions about what happened to the loan move and many more. Swila, back to you.
Thank you very much, Zita. As you rightfully pointed out, I am here with Ambrose Rachier. They call him Ador. He is the president of Gor Mahia Football Club. He is a top conveyance lawyer in the land. He is also a law scholar or lecturer, if I got that right. Ador, very good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us in this program.
Good morning, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I think all the accolades have rightfully put your way, rightfully earned.
Thank you.
First question, and this is what everybody is asking the Kogalo Nation and football stakeholders. What happened to Benson Omalla's proposed move to Algerian club?
I think this is a story that has been blown out of proportion. Just last week, I think on Thursday, in the evening, as I was holding the committee meeting with my executive committee meeting, some guests were announced to me. It was about 6 p.m. Guests were announced, and these were some two agents who said they would want to see us so that they could discuss the transfer of Omalla. And mark the date, it is Thursday evening
of last week.
And then we obliged and said, well, if you could go away shortly and return after just about 8:30, we'll be able to attend to you. So we had a full executive committee meeting. Then the two gentlemen came in to tell us the story. They came up with some letter which was written in French, which I speak myself, and I was able to understand what they were saying. Just the summary that has been given, that there is a team called JS of Algeria that was interested in our striker, and the terms are just as stated, some 1 million shillings to them to Omalla per month, a house and a car, and to us some $20,000 USD. Our response, just to summarize, was that that was an abrupt request. It was important that we get to know what the coach has as by way of plans. You release striker when you have just about 5 days to the closure of the window period. So we said we will talk to the coach and get back to them. On contacting our coach, he was of the view that in view of the match we were going to have the following, on Saturday, it was not ripe to try to engage the player in such kind of discussion. So the matter was deferred to Sunday, and on Sunday we cleared the deal and were ready to, that's the day I signed. I actually signed a contract to release Omalla on Sunday evening. On Monday evening, our TMS manager, Mr. Ronald Ngala, called them and said, look, we are ready to effect the transfer. And we were told, wait a minute. And shortly we were told the deal was through because another striker had been taken. So that is a simple, the very, very simple story.
The public opinion out there, Rachier, with all due respect, is you, the club bosses, stood in this way by dilly-dallying on the paperwork, took too long, and therefore cut short the dream of Omalla probably to get better or green pastures out there. As you've put it, 1 million a month. That dwarfs maybe 8 times what he answered Kogalo. Probably, do you think you acted with speed as was expected? Probably.
Well, I was very, very deliberate in talking about a Thursday night and a Sunday night. So the public opinion must be guided with objectivity. I mean, we have a match on Saturday. You don't want to engage a player on his transfer. I mean, that is not professionally good. Thursday night. So how many days are those? It is Friday and Saturday. Then we give an approval on Sunday. Can that objectively be said to be dilly-dallying or sitting on the papers? Where were the agents all the window period, which lasted 1 month, if they were intending to take him? So I, in my own view, again, with due respect to you and to the public, that 2 days cannot...
It's not sufficient time.
It is not sufficient time to even make a decision of that magnitude.
Since this deal fell through, what impact has it had on Omalla? Have you had a one-on-one chat with him as the club president? Because from where I sit, he didn't show up for training for 2-3 days. Has this been sorted out? Yes, this was quite good. And then, just to put it right, he actually played for the team last Saturday, that is day before yesterday. He was able to play. That means that he was already in the recovery, on the recovery path. Yes, I have spoken to him, not one-on-one, but at least on phone, to be able to pacify him, to be able to calm him down, because I think he already had made up his mind to leave. So some counseling has been done by both the coach and ourselves. The days that he was given off was really part of the recovery process in terms of how do you bring him back mentally to the team. And you will see that even in the starting lineup,
First half, Chris Ocheng played in his place, and in the second half, he was then introduced just as part of a recovery process to make him forget about the deal gone sour.
Lots of interest on Gor Mahia, lots of questions coming in, but Rachier, regarding player transfer, respect for player contracts, we've seen Kogalo literally land in hot soup. You know what happened last time with the Confederation of African Football. You are the champions, rightfully. You are not able to represent us in Africa because you are sanctioned by CAF. Is this something you've addressed up to now? Are we going to see more players go to the CAF or go to FIFA and institute litigations because their contracts have been breached in one way or the other?
Well, thank you. That's a very good question. I think every person who has been engaged in the running of football will agree that this is a new phenomenon. A new phenomenon. These FIFA cases is a recent happening that we attribute, believe me or not, we attribute to COVID. During the COVID period, one thing that people are forgetting is that the contracts remained valid and there was nil football, there was nil sponsorship. Nil football and nil sponsorship. That means lack of money. It was nothing to do with the running of an office or negligence or breach of contract. When you have a liability such as that of paying salaries and you have no income, and I want to repeat, during COVID, we know all the stadia were closed. There was no football, so we had no gate collections, and we also had no sponsorship. Sport Pesa had gone away. So, maybe you want to interrupt?
Yeah, that's right, Ador. But again, with all due respect, we've been in the game with you for so long. We were talking of Gor Mahia, a club that has been on our shows since 1968, a team with the largest fan base, rightfully so. But again, the issue of money, as you raise it, from where I sit, Kogalo hasn't really done enough to ensure that they have a solid financial base. I can give an example of our neighbors, Simba, Yanga. You've been there several times. You've played friendlies with them. Look at the strides these two clubs have made. And you compare with Kogalo, this errant age, with all due respect again, really nothing much to take home in terms of infrastructure. Kogalo lacks a training facility. Some would say Adora has been there for long. Yes, Kogalo have won title, but what's there to point?
I think I want to talk about two things. In the year 2015, yes, we had no sponsor whatsoever, and we took the league unbeaten. Why? Because we relied on our fans who were paying, making contributions on 350, 100. Two, Simba and Yanga, as you know, Tanzania did not close down during the era of COVID. So I want this point to be taken. I'm not just using some escapism. Tanzania never closed the stadia. The clubs who continue to be sponsored, they continue to have their funds, unlike Kenya. So by point of COVID, it's not an invention. It's not something that is being cooked up. It is the reality. So that there was no breach of contract, stricto sensu, in the strict sense of the word. There was no breach of contract. What happened is that we had no income, and then the players, some of them, not all of them, lacking the gratitude and lacking understanding, and of course being propelled by some agents, went to FIFA. You never heard about FIFA, Gor Mahia and FIFA before the advent of COVID. So I am not relying on COVID as a matter of excuse. The lack of funds is what led these players to go to FIFA. And this is a phenomenon that came in 2019, 2020, 2021. And most of them, as you will see, are not exactly Kenyan
players. Exactly. Most of them are foreigners.
Yes.
And still staying on finances, you've raised the COVID as an excuse, if I may use that word. But from where you sit, Rachier, what are you doing in the long term? I know your tenure is coming to an end. How do you make Kogalo financially independent without walking around with begging bowls, without relying on the goodwill of the corporates, going by its decorated history and the large fan base?
Yes, what we are doing ourselves, as you will see, as this era that we want to forget about goes on, we intend to actually become self-sufficient. We want to be able ourselves as a club to raise our own revenue without necessarily relying on sponsorship, but sponsorship is important. I think if you look at the sporting nations, if you look at the leagues, the La Liga, if you look at the EPL, if you look at Bundesliga, if you look at Serie A, all these clubs are first of all backed by a sponsor. So a question of sponsorship is not anything that you're going to write off. But yes, it kind of supplements, it actually need to supplement our own income. And our own generation income is, first of all, I've been talking about having our own facilities. I've been talking about this thing until people think it's just a joke, but we are in the process of finalizing title documents to be able to have our stadium. When we have our own stadium, all the expenses that...
Timelines on that?
Yeah.
Do you have timelines on that?
No, because for things like getting a title deed, it's really out of our hands. You've seen the lawyers demonstrate on the operations of Adi Sasa, that they have called Adi Tasa. That is something that is completely beyond my control. The second thing is, of course, we're trying to, apart from getting a stadium and getting our own income, we intend, and this I would call upon our federation, to really create an atmosphere where fans can be back to the stadium to be able to support. God has always been supported by fans. Through systems of either coming into the stadium in large numbers or even just making contributions to the club to strengthen our finances. So I would say that I recently met the president of Yanga in Cairo, when I went to Cairo, and there's a pending visit where we are going to make a visit on them to be able to do benchmarking, to be able to say, how have you done it? How have you gone in this way? And in that way, we hope we'll be able to learn from an experience that they have gone through themselves.
I think that could have been done much earlier. But again, talking of the fan base, they are dwindling in the stadia. We are not seeing the huge fan base we used to see. What do you attribute this to? And is it a concern to you? Leopards, on the other hand, are having more faces in the stadia.
Yes, this is a great concern. But let us start from the national from the national team. Let's look at the country itself. Are we doing any better in the Harambee Stars? Do we see fans there? So it's not a thing to do with the clubs. It's a question to do with the management. And I'm glad you called this program the state of football. The state of football in this country is completely deplorable, And that is what really accounts to apathy that you see, not only just in Gor Mahia, but generally in the country. So this is something that is not to be tackled from just from the club level. It's something that needs to be tackled from a national standpoint. It talks about where did we go wrong in terms of funds. Okay, now talking about Gor Mahia, you will hear branches being called, for example, you will hear a branch called Somerset branch. Now, these all came again from when people started watching matches at home.
Yes.
Because...
due to pay TV.
Yeah, but yes. So people, I won't just blame pay TV. This is something that occurred. People started getting used to watching matches at home. Again, I'm sorry about to be used to be relying on COVID all the time. Since COVID, we've never had a recovery of people coming to the stadium because they have alternative means now of viewing matches. So
a biting question I must ask you, and you brought in the national aspect, the role of the federation.
Yeah.
And Rachier again, Gor Mahia seem to have very bad blood with Football Kenya Federation. If not sanctioned, we are seeing back and forth, not playing friendly matches. What do you attribute this to?
Thank you very much. A very good, very good question. And I hope this question should also be posed to the president of the federation, why Gor Mahia looks like having a problem. Okay, I'll give two answers. First, I think this kind of what looks like bad blood came from when I ran for the federation, for the presidency. From that time, I think Gor has suffered, and for that reason, I gave up the point of any attempts. You've not seen me again since 2016. You've never seen me again try to run against His Excellency, the President of Football in Kenya.
But according to the laws, constitutionally, you're mandated to run if you meet all the requirements.
Yes, yeah, but then, you know, you have to take into account your club, because my club is suffering because I ran for presidency of football in this country. So, you know, I have been banned from even attending the matches and all other things. So I've decided to keep a low profile and let it be. You did see me in the 2020 elections, and you're not going to see me in the forthcoming elections.
So, Ador, if I get you right, you are not going to run this time?
No. I would not make an effort. I would rather spare my team than go and create vitriol with those who manage football in the country.
I know alliances are already forming on who's going to stand, who's going to oppose who. Probably are you throwing your weight behind some of those alliances?
No, I am not throwing my weight behind anybody, but I have a vote, and I'll be able to vote when I see who the candidates are. At the moment, I get to hear here and there, but you see, we don't have any official nominations already, and we aren't even sure when the elections are going to be.
As we wrap up, Ador, probably you've painted a picture of a Kenyan football in crisis, beginning from the top level. From where you sit, and you've been in this leadership for so long, what do you think needs to be done to revolutionize Kenyan football? The other day with AFCON, guys were talking, look, Cape Verde, we beat them here. They're now quarterfinalists in AFCON. Dreams that stars can only envy. In 30 seconds, what needs to be done to change Kenyan football?
Well, I want to just say two things. Lest I be accused of being a party to it, you will see how many trophies we have won in my leadership. That should mirror to you what kind of leadership that I myself demonstrate. I avoid controversy, and I go to the field, and I'm gunning for our 21st trophy. Two, there are things that speak for themselves, and you put it quite rightly. That why is Cape Verde, a miniature of a country, going into AFCON? Kenya is nowhere, any there. Those are the symptoms of the disease that we have. That we have mismanaged football so much in this country that we cannot even. I mean, Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, has done a perfect job in hosting AFCON. We have East Africa, the three of us have to come together in the Pamoja bid to be able to, just to get the bid. If you were to give it to Kenya, I can tell you it will sink, because this is not the first time they have failed twice.
96 and 2018.
Yeah, and 2018 they have failed. So that should tell you that something is wrong with the football. Something is wrong. The question is a diagnosis to say, what is it that ails Kenyan football? My answer is purely leadership.
Purely leadership.
Yes.
Ador, finally, I want you to look straight into that camera and promise the Kogalo Nation or the Kenyan football stakeholder that going forward, we won't see Gor Mahia sanctioned again over breach of player contracts, and that in the event you win the league title, you're going to represent Kenya in Africa. I
want to say this. It never happened before, what I have cited as the cause of it, and that is not a lame reason. You can never promise, any leader cannot promise that this thing will never happen, because you can never predict to the future. All I can tell you is that this is something we have managed, and if we had been informed even last year in good time that there was somebody called Sando who had taken us to FIFA, we would have gone to play in CAF. This was kept away from us. We were given a few hours to make the payment. We made the payment before even the draw was done, but we do not know what happened, why we were never allowed to go and pay, because we were clear as at the time that the draw was being done in Cairo. But I can assure the Kogalo fraternity that we are going to do our best to ensure that we do not have a recurrence of such happenings in future. If, of course, in law there's something we call force majeure, an act of God, something that happens that you cannot avoid. So you can never swear, because force majeures are always there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we appreciate you for making time to speak to us on Sporty Monday, Citizen TV.
Good.
That is Ambrose Rachier, the club president or Gor Mahia chairman, speaking to us here on Sporty Monday. Now we shift gears to